Brittney Griner was caught on tape during a game with the Indiana Fever, dropping racial slurs against Caitlin Clark.
Caught on camera during a heated WNBA game, Brittney Griner is accused of uttering a racial slur directed at rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. But what's more shocking? The WNBA refuses to investigate. As outrage spreads, ESPN's Stephen A. Smith issues a scathing takedown of Griner and the league itself. Is this just another rivalry, or a deep crack in the foundation of women's basketball?
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her, but it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc.
This isn't just about two players. It's about the most hyped rookie the league has ever seen versus a seasoned WNBA icon with global recognition. But what happens when the face of the future collides with the trauma and pride of the past?
Folks, the WNBA already set a precedent. It doesn't matter what Brittney Griner said. It doesn't matter what Brittney Griner said, because they've already shown us they don't need evidence, they don't need substance, they don't need any type of proof at all to launch a bogus investigation into Indiana Fever fans, so they shouldn't need any substance, any basis, any evidence to launch an investigation into any other fan, any other player, any other group. The WNBA set this.
During a tense game against the Indiana Fever, Griner fouled out and was caught on video mouthing what many claim was effing white girl, directed squarely at Clark. Lip readers and audio experts disagree on the exact words, but the public outcry? Immediate and relentless.
And it doesn't take a lot of genius to lip read Brittney Griner, whose voice, by the way, is about as low as mine is, calling her trash and an effing white girl. Now, of course, if Caitlin Clark had ever suggested the same in reverse, using black as opposed to white in that sentence, that'd be the end of her WNBA career. But Brittney Griner is going strong.
In a league struggling to grow its viewership, the backlash couldn't have come at a worse time. Fans accused the WNBA of hypocrisy, pointing to how swiftly they investigated false racism claims against Indiana Fever fans, but refused to probe a viral video with clear footage.
Clearly, she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The
on
Merchant
American
of
Soul.
Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens, according to the reports. That's who they let out. For her. You would think that you would be smiling, you would be ecstatic, you would be happy, and something like this wouldn't faze you at all. The fact that it does is disturbing. I'll leave it at that.
Never one to bite his tongue, Stephen A. Smith tore into Brittney Griner. He blasted the WNBA for its cowardice, ripped Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, and accused the league of cultural sabotage. His words hit hard, and fans backed him.
Okay, we're not gonna sit here and act like Brittney Griner was not in a Russian jail a couple of years ago. You know what I'm saying? So maybe she's still trying to adjust to regular stuff. But for you to be confused why fans are showing up to a basketball game and not to do their taxes or their homework, it's hard for me to understand.
Brittney Griner's story captivated the world. Imprisoned in Russia, traded for one of the world's most dangerous arms dealers, welcomed back as a national hero. But now, that goodwill is eroding fast. Many believe her behavior and her tone no longer match the gravity of her second chance.
Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about. Especially something like this. Fans in every sport. She described the fan.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena.
Fans have noticed a disturbing pattern. Clark is repeatedly targeted, physically and now allegedly verbally. But the league stays silent.
Why?
Critics say the silence isn't accidental, it's intentional. And it's sending a message louder than any words.
So the way that it works is if no racism happens in the stands, the WNBA does a full investigation. If there are hard fouls on Caitlin Clark every night and Brittney Griner is using slurs, like pretty openly, against Caitlin Clark, then it's racism to even pay attention to any of that. You see, everything has to end in racism. If you were to create a flowchart, what it would look like is something racist didn't happen, therefore investigate racism. Or something maybe racist happened but was against a white person. You mentioning this is also probably racism against black people. If you want to get people never to watch the WNBA, this is an amazing way to do it. Truly an amazing way to do it. Because if the league is going to be rooted in this sort of nastiness with regard to its only real star, good luck to them. And we'll see what the viewership is like in the WNBA. Truly, truly idiocy.
This isn't just a game. It's a cultural proxy war between new money and old values, between race and representation, between silence and accountability. And at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, loved by millions, resented by many inside the league.
Did you catch that? Brittney Griner calling Caitlin Clark trash and an effing white girl during a game? Now, imagine if the roles were reversed. If Caitlin had called Griner trash and followed it with effing black girl. The outrage will be instant. Headlines, public backlash, suspensions, and major sponsors pulling out. But because it was said to a white athlete, many are brushing it off or even laughing. That's a dangerous double standard.
While the league rushed to investigate non-existent racial chants from Indiana Fever fans, it won't even acknowledge this controversy. No investigation, no statement, nothing. And fans are noticing.
I have never seen an organization more committed to self-imploding than the WNBA. A few weeks ago, I made this video highlighting how it appears Brittney Griner said bleep white girl after fouling out in a game against Indiana Fever, the team that Caitlin Clark plays for. Some people like Jamel Hill, former ESPN host, says that no, she didn't say bleep white girl. She says bleep whack call, to which she then went on to call me a grifter for even pointing this out, but besides the point. You can watch and make up your own mind as to what it appears Brittney Griner is saying. It's not certain what Griner says. There is one way to find out. Ask Brittney Griner. However, no one has done that except for Outkick. It's been over 2 weeks since Griner said this. Instead, the WNBA was investigating a bogus race hoax made up by Angel Reese about Indiana Fever fans.
The controversy threatens to derail the WNBA's historic momentum. Clark's rise was supposed to be the league's golden ticket, but the refusal to protect her, or even treat her fairly, may cost the league more than it can afford.
Look, I don't know for sure what was going on with what cameras caught Brittney Griner saying on the bench after she had fouled out against Caitlin Clark's Fever in Atlanta. I waited to comment on this until the WNBA was able to investigate it. I wanted them to issue a statement about it, but we have heard nothing from the WNBA, absolutely nothing. And Brittney Griner has not commented, which...
This isn't new. Since college, Caitlin Clark has been a lightning rod. First Angel Reese, then Diana Taurasi, now Griner. Veteran after veteran has challenged Clark's legitimacy. But where does rivalry end and resentment begin?
Just in the short amount of time that I watched, I remember back a while back before Caitlin was in this, of all these female professional players bitching about not getting paid what the men do, and then it was made clear that when you have the draw, when you can bring in the money, the revenue, the advertising dollars, then you'll get paid more money. Caitlin Clark has made that happen for the entire league but these girls are doing everything in their power to destroy the golden goose that benefits them as a collective. And the referees, it looks like somebody has paid these high school referees to basically ignore any foul.
For the first time in years, women's basketball had captured the national spotlight. But now, that light is casting shadows on league politics, racial divisions, and the failure to protect its most valuable star. Is this the moment the WNBA evolves or collapses under its contradictions?
How do we know this? Attendance for the entire league was up nearly 50% last year. According to data from across the timeline, and Indiana led all teams with an average attendance of 17,035. That was up 319% from the year earlier. 319%. 319%. All other teams still grew by double-digit percentages. So let's not forget that. They didn't grow by 319%. It was Caitlin Clark, which means she's largely responsible for the overall league attendance records. Merchandise sales were also up 450% for the WNBA, according to Fanatics, and Clark was the top-selling player and is fifth among athletes across all sports.
Stephen A. Smith may be controversial, but this time, he spoke for millions. He reminded Griner of the price paid for her freedom. He called out the league's cowardice. And he warned, if Clark walks away, so will the fans.
Outkick applied for media credentials to cover Brittney Griner's team, the Atlanta Dreams, game on June 6th, to which, shocker, they denied us. We've never had trouble getting media credentials with any professional sports league in the past, but wouldn't you know, now they suddenly have very limited space, which is total baloney. They just want to suppress any sort of uncomfortable inquiries from media.
In a league already divided by rising tensions and growing pains, one moment lit the match. After a heated game between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream, cameras captured Brittney Griner appearing to mouth a racial slur directed at WNBA rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. The alleged words? F-I-N-G, white girl. The fallout? Immediate and deeply polarizing. But here's what no one else is telling you. What did Brittney Griner really say? And why has the WNBA stayed completely silent? This investigation goes beyond just one comment. It exposes fractures at the heart of women's basketball that threaten to tear the league apart. The incident occurred during a tense matchup in early June when Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever faced off against the Atlanta Dream. After fouling out late in the fourth quarter, Griner sat visibly agitated on the bench. Cameras captured her mouthing something, words that many online lip readers claim were a racial insult aimed at Clark. Within hours, the clip went viral. But instead of outrage or accountability, the response from the league and media elites was silence. Now imagine if the roles were reversed. If Clark had said F-I-N-G black girl to Griner, we'd be looking at suspensions, media fury, and sponsors pulling out. But this time, nothing. And it didn't go unnoticed. Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from controversy, slammed the WNBA's hypocrisy on live TV, calling it, quote, the most disgraceful silence I've seen in pro sports this year. Brittney Griner isn't just any player, she's one of the most recognized faces in the WNBA. After her dramatic release from a Russian prison in 2022, she was embraced as a symbol of resilience and unity. But that legacy is now under threat. This isn't the first time Griner has stirred public debate. From refusing to stand for the national anthem to lashing out at critics, her journey has often been controversial. But this time, the criticism is deeper and far more damaging. Just days before the Griner controversy exploded, the WNBA launched its No Space for Hate initiative, a campaign aimed at combating racism and promoting respect. But when one of its own stars was accused of violating that principle, crickets. Critics are now calling the campaign empty PR window dressing. The Women's National Basketball Players Association even rebuked Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for failing to protect all players equally. The media firestorm only intensified. Jemele Hill, former ESPN host, jumped in to defend Griner, insisting she said, Whack call, not white girl. But others weren't buying it. Outkick, one of the only outlets pushing for accountability, was denied media credentials to Griner's next game. Coincidence? Or calculated censorship? One thing is clear, someone doesn't want the truth coming out.